I'm here with Brian Kachinsky, who's the head judge for the Monster Recon Tour. Can you give me a little bit of rundown about the event and how things go and what this is all about?
Absolutely. So the Monster Army Recon Tour is designed for the rider who wants to get experience competing. So we have the intermediate class for that. Next, we have the sport class, and that's kind of the next level up. Those are riders that are on the cusp of being pro. They're technically still amateurs, but when you watch them ride and when you watch the highlights, you'll know that they're doing some pro level tricks. And then, of course, we also have, as part of this tour, we have a Pro C1 contest. We run by the book as far as UCI rules. That's for UCI points, so that eventually is points that could be used for the Olympics and the whole UCI series. So the difference is there's a slight difference in format, but there's no difference in judging. So there's a slight difference in format in that the amateur riders ride for 45-second runs and they do a straight final versus the pros do 1-minute runs. They have a qualifying round and then a final, but the criteria does not change throughout the whole day. So we judge those same intermediate groups, sport groups, and pros all on the same UCI criteria. So it's exciting. It's kind of like creating this steps, if you will, to where you're an intermediate, but you love to ride and you are happy with the fact that you can put a contest run together. You can come here and you can compete with that same criteria with a chance to then move up to the next level, say the next year or whatever, and then move up to the next level whenever you're ready to join the pro ranks. So it's great. It kind of creates sort of a pathway and gets the riders to get to experience in that contest environment.
How have they gone so far? This is the fourth one.
They've gone really well. I'm really impressed. It's really funny every time we end up finishing the sport class, which I said is the class where the riders are kind of on the cusp of being pro. I finish that and I think, wow, the tricks they're doing are really nearly pro level, and now they would have been pro level, years ago if progression hadn't gone the way it is. So it's really cool to see. It's kind of like seeing those riders, seeing what's next, seeing the riders of tomorrow is one of my favorite parts. I also, of course, always love seeing the intermediates out there, riders who maybe want to get more competition experience and they get that contest courage and you see them kind of push their personal best. And I always think that's rewarding to see because it reminds me of myself. I would always get contest courage as a younger rider growing up and would do those things that maybe I wouldn't do in a normal session because I had that contest courage and the clock was on. So it was, it's good to have those. And then of course, I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't mention the pros. And the pros are obviously the highlight of the day, the last kind of grand finale of the day, doing amazing tricks and really progressing the sport in real time. Seeing them come to a place like this, like a skate park that's accessible, because when you think about when they compete at like a World Cup or something like that, you don't have, you never, a lot of amateurs and other riders never touch those ramps. They have no point of reference. These riders come to a place like this that you can come ride, that's open to the public. They see the pro riders that ride there and see what they can do, and it kind of, I'm sure it just blows minds, and people will be talking about what happens today for years and years to come.
Absolutely. And I was talking to Charlotte earlier, and she said, because I was a little bit confused on why someone like Erek would come to Cleveland, Ohio for an event like this, and she explained that the C1 gives you points, which those points allow you to then be able to go to that World Cup, exactly. Which I didn't quite understand.
Yeah, they have a minimum threshold of points that you need in order to even go to a World Cup. Sometimes that those points don't guarantee you a spot in some of them, I don't believe. I could be wrong about this, but you definitely need them to be on the list to enter. I know that there are sometimes, I think, maybe where they might cap a number, so then the lowest number of points that a rider has from whatever country would be registered, and whether they accept the invite or not. But that's how it all works, and that's why riders will come from all over the world to compete in something like a Recon Tour at the pro level or any C1, because they can get those points and then move up to the next level. So, even when the pros have sort of made it to that pro level, they're still always grinding and always trying to make sure that they have enough points to stay on the series and go to those events that they want to go to.
Yeah, and so it's probably safe to say that between these 4 events, this is going to have implications for how the Olympic stuff plays out in some way with someone like Irek here today.
Yeah. Part of the story is being written. Part of someone's Olympic story is being written today, and that's the exciting part about it. Is that we're so far off. It seems like we're so far off from 2028 Olympics, but really, it's all happening now. It's already 2026, and we're midway through, or more than midway through this series, and the riders are going for it, and they're already kind of they're on their way to that big show.
Yeah, and so I don't want to take a ton of your time, but I want to ask on more of a Brian Kachinsky note, how have you felt transitioning? Because obviously you're still active as a BMX rider and you go out there and still kill it, but like you're transitioning into this role of being the judge and doing more involvement with that. Like, how has that been for you?
It's been great, but it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been stress-free by any means. And I say that just because, judging can be as stressful as you want it to be, but it should be stressful if you care. And I care a lot. I care a lot about the future, the direction that BMX goes in. It doesn't necessarily need to go in the direction of like my personal preference. I kind of throw preference out the window and strive for ultimate fairness, when I'm sitting there at the judging table. But it's really interesting because I just think that right now is important because BMX freestyle is so new on this Olympic realm, that the judging gets, that we kind of set ourselves up on the right foot. And so every time I think about how things are being judged and assessed and looked at, that how's this going to look in 20, 30 years? I'm sure there's going to be tricks that I can't even imagine. My wildest dreams are being surpassed all the time. But just the fact that we keep BMX, and that's from the start. That's been my motivation in judging, because I think I want to keep that BMX spirit, the thing that made me fall in love with BMX, or one of the things that made me fall in love with BMX, that personal freedom, and make sure it doesn't ever morph into anything like gymnastics or figure skating, where you have like things that tricks or certain things that you need to do in order to. I always want it to remain freestyle and us to critique and compare the best we can. And not to say anything against those other sports like gymnastics, figure skating. I love watching them. I think they're incredible, but we're different, and BMX is different, and our whole ethos and the whole reason why we all fell in love with it's different. So it's great. I'm honored. I take this role seriously, and I thank everyone that I've judged with. Thank everyone that has given me a great show, and I mean the riders. Like that's really the biggest honor, is just being able to be a part of this whole thing and to get one of the best seats in the house to some of the most amazing bike riding we've ever seen.
That is awesome. And I mean, just through what you just got done saying, you're clearly very level-headed and approaching this in an objective, like reasonable, critiquing kind of way that I think is going to be good for it. So I'm stoked to hear that. And
thank you. We've had some nerdy, between us judges, the judges that judge these events and other events around the world, we have had some really nerdy, in-depth conversations about BMX freestyle and tricks and different things and different aspects of it, to where it's gotten to like, but that's what needs to happen. Those conversations need to happen in order to for us to figure out how things are going to compare and contrast to each other. But it's humorous, but it's also it's a duty, and it's something we do take seriously when we're up there. So, but it's just incredible, and I think that BMX freestyle is on a good path, and it's only going to get crazier. So I'm both excited, and I'm excited from a bike rider standpoint, and I have to put on like my dad hat sometimes where I get nervous. I'm like, oh man, I hope things don't. I always hope that things get crazy, but obviously, I always hope that everyone comes away unscathed, because the stuff they're doing is the highest level it's ever been. So thank you, and thanks to everyone who's ever given me a great show.